Hey guys, it's KAELANIME. After Asha Sharma's tweet, I know I haven't been excited about The Elder Scrolls 6, but after Asha Sharma's tweet, I am getting excited about Elder Scrolls 6 again. So, I know I'm late to the party. I was not going to make a wish list for The Elder Scrolls 6, but here's the list of things that I want for The Elder Scrolls 6 Sentinel. We don't know if that's the name of the game or not. Might not be. We'll see. Anyways, here's the list. So, we're all pretty sure that it takes place in Hammerfell, yeah? If it takes place in Hammerfell, it would be awesome to have all of Hammerfell and most of or parts of High Rock, the inverse of Daggerfall. Now, I'm going to warn you right now, I am going to be referencing Daggerfall a lot in this video because Daggerfall, of all of the Elder Scrolls games out, is my favorite Elder Scrolls game. Now, in terms of the continent, Hammerfell, all of Hammerfell, parts or most of High Rock, and if it is in Hammerfell, will it be the Yakuten gods that we find all throughout, or will it be the Imperial Pantheon? If it's both, that would be all right. But moving on from the continent, something that I want the Elder Scrolls to bring back is the skills like climbing, acrobatics, swimming, running, all of that. That would be great. Every Elder Scrolls game, except for Skyrim, has running, something akin to acrobatics, swimming. Only Daggerfall has climbing, which leads me into my next point. One thing that I want them to bring back is climbing. To be able to climb walls, to be able to scale walls like you were able to in Daggerfall. That would be amazing. If they can manage that on the creation engine, that would be amazing. Or if they can't on the creation engine, I hope they can. But to bring back those specific skills would be great. Another thing that I would like them to bring back is the spell crafting. To be able to craft spells again, like you were in, I think even Arena had spell crafting. If I remember correctly, Arena also had spell crafting. Went from Arena all the way up to Oblivion. Skyrim is the only one that doesn't have spell crafting. Well, I should say of the mainline games, Skyrim is the only one that doesn't have spell crafting. If Bethesda brings back spell crafting, I think a large majority of Elder Scrolls players will be happy. That leads me into my next point. Bringing back the classes like the mage class, the warrior class, the thief class, assassin class, all of those classes, plus the custom classes, would be amazing. They would be fantastic. I believe that would make most of us Elder Scrolls fans happy. Because Skyrim, again, is the only Elder Scrolls game in the mainline series that does not have the classes. Skyrim is just a custom class. All that is custom class. You don't get locked into a specific class. But bringing back the classes, getting locked into whatever class you chose, would be great, especially for replayability. Because if you want to play as another class, you'd have to create a new character and do things that were locked out of your previous class. Which leads me to my next point. Bring back the lockout system. So, the reputation, bring back the guilds and the faction system. It cannot be so easy to go from, hey, I just joined this guild. Oh, hey, now I'm the leader of this guild or faction. It shouldn't be that easy. And you should be locked out of certain guilds for your actions. And if you join one guild, you'd have to leave it before you can join another. Like with Daggerfall. I believe Daggerfall had that. And that is a good system. And the reputation, get locked out of certain things for your actions, like Daggerfall. Daggerfall, there were certain quests that you got locked out of for certain actions. There were certain things you got locked out of for your actions. Bring that back. And your race should have an impact on your gameplay. It has very minimal impact in Skyrim. But if it's in Hammerfell, it's going to be full of Redguards. Redguards do not like the Mer. They hate elves. They hate orcs. They especially hate orcs. But they also especially hate the elves. Specifically the High Elves, because the High Elves are more closely associated with the Thalmor, right? And there's none that they hate more than the Thalmor. Because the left-handed elves don't exist anymore. But having things like that affect your gameplay, make things harder, that needs to come back. Stuff like that. And then have certain things, your certain actions affect what you get locked out of and what you can access. That adds on to the replayability. Now, I know it has been 15 years. 15 years since Skyrim released. 15 years. And yet, Skyrim is still one of the biggest games. It still has some of the most loyal of fans. We have channels here on YouTube completely dedicated to Skyrim. Like the Dunderheads, for instance. Juve, there's Jabo, Just Meeks, Edge Omega. There's quite a few dedicated specifically to Skyrim. And then there was the Skyrim grandma. She's still alive, but she doesn't play. She doesn't record for Skyrim anymore. She got bored of it, but she's 90. She's 90, guys. That's insane. She was playing Skyrim at 80. That's insane. Skyrim. Yeah, it has a lot of replayability. Imagine what would happen if you have these choices that lock you out of certain things, like with Daggerfall. That heavily adds to the replayability, at least in my opinion. Now, here's my next point. We talked about the classes. Let's talk about the birth signs. Bring back the birth signs. Don't do what you did with Skyrim and have standing stones so you can go and choose your birth sign at will. Being locked into a birth sign is what makes the Elder Scrolls, in my opinion. To be locked into your birth sign and into your class, that's fun. Because it restricts certain things, but that's what's fun about it. If you know how you want to play, you're locked into that play. You cannot change from that play with your classes and your birth signs. If Bethesda brings that back with the Elder Scrolls 6, I know so many of us will be happy about that. I think a large majority of Elder Scrolls fans will be happy with that. And Skyrim was the very first Elder Scrolls game that I have ever played. And I played the release build of Skyrim before the DLC came out. Daggerfall is my favorite Elder Scrolls game because it allows so much more freedom, it feels like. There's just so much more you can do. You can scale walls, you can do all sorts of things. So if they bring back that, then awesome. Another thing that I would like to see them bring back from Daggerfall is the banking system. So, in Daggerfall, you can go to a bank and you can take out a loan. The banking system. There is a max, I believe, of 1 million gold. Or it might be 500,000 gold or 50,000 gold from each bank in each region. But that also depends on your character's reputation. So going back to the reputation system, having it affect how much gold you can withdraw, you can take out in a loan. Yeah, the reputation system is important, in my opinion. But bringing back the banks, taking out the loans, and if you don't pay back the loans in each region, you get jail time, right? I don't remember specifically if Daggerfall has jail time or if it just bans you from the city. However, I think there is jail time for that in Daggerfall. Bring that back. Bring that back. Another thing that I would like to see come back from Daggerfall is the seasons, the changing of the seasons. Each season changes Sometimes it snows, depending on the month. They have specific holidays that are celebrated in Daggerfall. If we bring that back for Yakutan holidays. And then if you go up to High Rock for the High Rock holidays, stuff like that. That would be amazing. I just don't know if they can do that with the creation engine. They might be able to, but I don't know. On to my next point. Speaking of Creation Engine 3, they say, or I've heard, that they're trying to remove loading screens from Creation Engine 3. So, say you walk into a building or a city, there's no loading screens. That would be awesome. Just like with Crimson Desert. That would be great. If they can pull that off, that would be fantastic. No loading screens for entering a city. No loading screens for entering a building. That would be awesome. The only loading screens for if you, say, load the game. Yeah. That would be fantastic. I just don't know if they can pull it off. Because, if I'm not mistaken, something like that is quite the expensive endeavor. But if they can pull that off, they have it on lock. If they can pull that off, so many Elder Scrolls fans will be happy. So many Bethesda fans will be happy. And then, if they can remove the loading screens from Starfield, which I don't think they'll be able to, because they have over 1,000 planets. Procedurally generated, but over 1,000 planets. Now, with Starfield, they should have only had maybe a few planets handcrafted. Yeah. That's what they should have done. But oh well. If they can pull off that endeavor, if they can remove loading screens from the Elder Scrolls 6, I know all of us would be happy. Not just most of us, all of us. Now, let's go back a little ways to the spells. You know how in every Elder Scrolls game up to Oblivion, it's a certain keybind or a certain button bound for casting a spell. I think the Skyrim method might be best. To have the ability to dual wield your spells. Yeah. Like you do with your swords. Which is another thing. Bring back the dual wielding from Skyrim. And I know a lot of us will be happy. Being able to dual cast be fantastic. And be able to craft spells for either hand or craft a spell that requires both hands. That would be great. And then there's the racial abilities. Bring back the racial abilities of Skyrim. Each race has their own unique ability, unique traits. That would be great. Bring that back from Skyrim. Mix that with custom spells. You can do a lot. Now, something else they should bring back from Daggerfall and Morrowind. Unique vampire races, unique vampire clans. In Daggerfall, there were 9 vampire clans that you could become a part of. Morrowind had 3. Oblivion didn't have any unique vampire clans that you could join. Skyrim has 1, the Volkihar. If the Elder Scrolls 6 brings back the 9 vampire clans, or at least the vampire clans in the parts of High Rock that are closer to Hammerfell, plus Hammerfell's own unique vampire clans, that would be fantastic. That would be great. Each with their own unique abilities and weaknesses. Like Daggerfall, and I believe Morrowind as well had unique weaknesses and strengths and abilities. If they bring that back, then those of us who play as vampires will be golden. Also, if they add ways to hide your vampirism so that the NPCs don't know that you're a vampire until either you're blood starved or you're not disguised. If you can disguise yourself, that'd be great. If you have things like cloaks and hoods to stop yourself from getting burnt, that'd be awesome. If you can hide in the shade to not burn up in the sunlight, that would be awesome. That is what the Elder Scrolls 6 needs. In my opinion, I would like to see that. That would be great. Now let's talk about the werewolves, the wereboar, and the werebear. So, in Daggerfall, you could become either a werewolf or a wereboar. In Skyrim, there's werebears, but you can only become a werewolf. If they bring back the werewolf and the wereboar and the werebear, and you can become one of those, we're golden. For those Elder Scrolls players that want to play as a wereboar or a werebear or a werewolf, for those who want to play that way, that would be fantastic. But to bring back all of the vampires, the vampire clans, and the were clans from the entire Iliac Bay area would suit Hammerfell perfectly. Or Sentinel, whatever the Elder Scrolls 6 is. Skyrim, when it was still under development, when they released the gameplay footage for, I think it was E3 or something like that, they had footage of the werebear, of the player character becoming the werebear, and they didn't have it. They cut that. That was cut content. If Bethesda ever decides to re-release Skyrim, the least they can do is re-release Skyrim with all of that cut content. That would be fantastic for all of us. But that's aside the point. For the weapons in Elder Scrolls 6, having weapons from all over the Iliac Bay area, just having those unique weapons, yes, that would suit the Hammerfell perfectly, or Sentinel, whatever the fuck it is. But also having spears, not the Reekling spears that Skyrim added with the Dragonborn DLC. I'm talking spears that you can either throw or swing around, like they have the animation for in Skyrim. Well, they had the animation for it in Skyrim, but they never implemented. To have those spears, to be able to swing those spears around, and that's, in my opinion, what the Elder Scrolls 6 needs. And then there's the Dwemer Ruins. Hammerfell is deeply tied with Dwemer history. So having more Dwemer Ruins to explore would be great. To have big, expansive, lore-driven Dwemer Ruins? Yes, we do need that. Skyrim had plenty of Dwemer Ruins. But I believe Hammerfell, being deeply tied with Dwemer history, needs to have more lore and more Dwemer history in their Dwemer Ruins. Who knows? Maybe there might be something to clue us into their disappearance? I don't know. But ruins. There's something fascinating about ruins. Even Oblivion had ruins. Not really Dwemer ruins, but Ayleid ruins. The Ayleid ruins were fun to explore. To get the to get those Welkin stones. That was fun. To explore the ruins, to see what we could find, to see what we could explore, was fun. But that's all I really have about the Dwemer ruins. Honestly, I know that Bethesda started their storyboarding and all of that, all of the planning, years ago, long before they ever started pre-production. I know. But still, that is my wish list. And if Bethesda doesn't add the stuff in this list, I know that most, if not all, Elder Scrolls fans want most of what I have listed in this video. If Bethesda doesn't add it, modders will. But the one thing I want the most is that the Elder Scrolls 6 is as easily moddable as Skyrim is. That is what I truly want. Because if the Elder Scrolls 6 does not add any, if not most, of what is in this list, modders can add it. But anyways, that's my list of what I want for the Elder Scrolls 6. Let me know what you want for the Elder Scrolls 6 down in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell icon to stay notified every time I release a video. And go down to the description, visit the links, because my new album is out. My Demons is out on iTunes, not iTunes, on Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, all of that. And if you enjoyed this, share it. If you think someone else you know will like this, share it. I will see you all in the next one.